Hey Matt, so the first thing you need to realize about Ashens before I go for this video is that this man has been making videos for 15 years. Tuesday of this week, he reached the 15-year mark for his channel. He started it in 2006. He's one of the first people I was watching online make videos even before YouTube. He predates YouTube. And the thing about Ashens and his channel, the humor and the style hasn't really changed in those 15 years. This is an example of what his videos looked like in 2006, and then 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, 18, 20, and 2021 as of now. So the style of the tone of the videos and the content themselves has remained pretty much the same. There's a little bit of deviance, but not much. The only thing that has really changed is the quality of the equipment he's using. But of course, in order to understand the in-jokes, you need to understand what type of content that Stuart Ashens makes. They are primarily reviews, and he reviews various things like really cheap stuff that he's bought from shops such as Poundland, which is similar to a Dollar Tree where everything costs £1, or it used to. Can you imagine some of the things he'd buy are very dubious in quality. Now, as production costs have got far cheaper in the industry, things have become a much higher quality from shops like those. So he now reviews less of the stuff from Poundland and a lot more stuff from Wish.com that seems to have taken over, that has some very dubious quality attached to it. Looking at 99% of his videos, you will always see the same brown sofa that he's had for many years, actually with his father's, that he started reviewing on just because it was a surface on which to do these reviews, and it's become one of the biggest memes of his channel. But instead of upgrading, he's just stuck with this brown sofa because it's iconic, it's what he's known for, and to be honest, what's the point in changing a brand that works so well and resonates so well with people who've been watching this guy for years? To the point that he uploaded a video on Tuesday night, which is basically a clip from every single video he has ever made on. It was about 35-40 minutes long, and there's people in the comments saying, I was 2 years old when I started watching your videos. I was in school. I've grown up with you. And I'm sure to hear that people have literally grown up with his content in the same way you would grow up with something like Pokemon must be unusual. And when we're talking about in-jokes in terms of Ashens, a lot of the in-jokes tend to be referential in nature because obviously the channel's been going for a long time. Ashens himself has a very niche interest set of like retro games. He also likes technology, old technology specifically, and there's not a massive market. There's a growing market for it on YouTube, but generally speaking, it is a niche market. And there's also the British culture aspect. Because he's a British YouTuber, there's a lot of really obscure, strange things to come out of TV in the 80s and the 90s, and a couple of different in-jokes based around the Ashens channel comes from that. Another of the in-jokes right to the channel is the name Jimmy. So in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the government and various organizations were creating these PSAs that taught kids not to do certain things, like not to go with strangers offering them sweets and candy, or do not go into these certain areas or into building sites, cross the road safely, that kind of thing. And there was a really infamous bad one where it was warning kids to stay away from electrical pylons, and there were two kids playing, a little boy and a little girl, and they threw a frisbee. The frisbee got stuck onto an electric pylon, so the little girl talked the little boy into going through the fence and going to retrieve it on top of a pylon. The young kid reaches for the frisbee, gets electrocuted, and you hear this girl shout, Jimmy. In fact, here it is now. Jimmy! At the time, it served a purpose. It was shown in schools, kids paid attention to it. By the standards when it was made, it was quite graphic and quite shocking. Now we look at it and just think that it's cringy as all hell. As well as an emote, he also uses soundbite from it. He references it every week. Every Wednesday, Ashens hosts a quiz. The quiz differs every week based on what it's about, be it like sort of references from video games or TVs or movies or animated TV shows. He has like an F&V intro that he plays every week as an intro to the quiz, and it ends with Jimmy, although more emotive than that, obviously. I briefly explained Nosy Bonk last week, which is another reference from a long time ago. Over the years, Stuart has also introduced one or two different characters, also based off references, like there is also Chef Excellence. There was a number of products that was in Poundland at one point. It was basically just different coloured bags for different type of stuff, like red ones for raw meat and vegetables and things like that. On it, it was apparently endorsed by Chef Excellence himself, which was just a stock image of a chef with a little tagline put at the bottom, an excellent product, or something similar to that. And that became one of the biggest memes on his channel as well. The chef gained such prominence in the Ashens verse that it was even made into a character in Ashens' first film, which is Ashens and the Quest for the Game Child. There is also another character called the Silver Skull, which is basically just a man in a dark robe with a silver skull mask who likes improvised jazz solos, and he tries to kill Ashens on occasion with some really elaborate plots in order to take Ashens' fame to propel him into stardom with his improvised jazz solos, and he pops up every now and again. There is also the ancient deity Slep, this is going to take some explaining. As well as being involved in the Ashens channel, Ashens also set up a collaboration channel with his friend and fellow YouTuber Barry Lewis. It became known as Barshens, which is a combination of Barry and Ashens. Barshens. One of their features on Barshens was where they would read really nonsensical or stupid news articles found online and submitted by the viewers, and they would either find them in the newspapers or online. And one news article they made fun of was something relating around Justin Bieber flying over some place in an airplane. That was the entirety of the article. However, it was like pidgin English, which is a phrase that means something translated into English but not very well, and it said about some giving Sleppy your bones. The translation was so bad that it sounds like there was an evil dark god who takes bones from people as a form of worship.
That's absolutely... I'm going to read this end bit. I do warn you, Google Translate warning. Justin Bieber losing the stage after the concert for Utvalde fans at Chateauneuf in Oslo yesterday after spelled only one font song. The reason for this should nightly that aggressive fans at the stage refuse to give Slepp the idol their bones.
That is yet another in-joke, which admittedly is used more on the stream than on videos, but it is referenced occasionally on videos. There are a few newer established memes, characters, in-jokes I suppose, and they're mainly all based around the Twitch channel because there is an actual community behind that, and one of them is the Blobshens, which is the Mr. Blobby version of Ashens I had created. The
Ashens Blobby.
I'm happy to say has some form of infamy now in the Ashens universe, which I can say I did that, and I can even be proud of it, or I can be ashamed of myself. The Ashens community is a really odd one because Ashens has been going for so long. There are people who watch his videos, but I wouldn't describe them as much of a YouTube community as what the Vlogbrothers would be, for example. There is obviously a comment section and people comment in that comment section, but there isn't a lot of interaction between people because Stuart doesn't place a large emphasis on his comments. That's why he's never had anyone to really handle community up until me joining mainly for the Twitch streams. Getting back to point to wrap this video up, a couple of different references as well relate to the things that Ashens has made or released over the years. One of which is this, which he sent me in the post recently, was his first ever DVD. At the time I couldn't get hold of it. It was a very limited run. This was like one of the first proper things he ever debuted, and all it is a collection of all his old reviews. Some stuff you can't actually find on YouTube anymore due to various reasons, but it is on this DVD. I can't remember if I said can or cannot, but you cannot find some of these on YouTube. And one of the most recent things is this. His second film, Ashens and the Polybius Heist, which I mentioned briefly that Ashens the Quest for the Game Child, which is over there that I'm not going to go fetch because it means moving, was the first major film that he made with an actual crew and a budget. The film was partially crowdfunded here on YouTube with perks available to people who donate a certain amount of money, and it went really well, and so they made a second one, the Polybius Heist, which was again partially crowdfunded, but I'm not sure if it was as much because they had other backing. As previously mentioned, Stuart and Barry, who make up Barshens, weren't really community focused, but Barshens tended to be more community focused, and it was created purely for the subset of fans who enjoyed the channel. After the first few videos they had a small viewer base. Ashens didn't do anywhere near as well as Barry Lewis's own channel or Ashens, but there was a dedicated viewer base that really enjoyed what they were making, so they made them for as long as possible, whereas obviously it just got too expensive and logistically it just didn't work, and if it didn't die before COVID would have killed it off anyway. But they responded to what people were sending in and what people were saying and what people wanted and what people were suggesting, and it's great to see favorite YouTuber of mine and not a friend I'd even say, Ashens is by this point, actually respond to the people that have watched his videos for so long. And he has shown he's very grateful to the people who watch his videos and have allowed him to do all the amazing things that he's done over the years, because without the fans, without the people watching, never mind buying merch and being involved in crowdfunding campaigns, just watching a video makes a difference. It's given him this amazing career, and it's an honor to be able to work with him. I've said this before, it's one of my career highlights. It's one of the things that I always said I wanted to do, was work with Stuart Ashton in some way, and I got my chance, not only making a podcast with him, but being able to help with his community on the streaming side and also on the YouTube channel side. Next week I'm gonna create a supercut of all the videos I've ever made on this channel. That will be off the back of what Ashens did this week. I'm gonna narrow it down a little bit and just make one based on this channel. I've already got started on the first 40 videos I think, but there's still a heck of a lot more to go. It's fun. It's a trip down memory lane. It matters. I'll see you on Monday.